What up, you nerds? Today I thought it might be a good idea to go through every new major weapon perk that got added to D2 in the 30th anniversary content drop. Hi there, my name is Fallout, and remember that subscribing to my channel will make you 25% more attractive on days that don't end in Y. Don't think about that too much. Anywho, yeah, new weapon perks, baby. There's a handful of them, both legendary and exotic, and they range from to damn. As per usual, I decided to grab the boys and head into a private lobby as well as out into the land of PvE to do a little weapon testing on what perks are probably more worth your time to hunt for. But before we get going, I'd like to give a big thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Keeps. Gentlemen, did you know that 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? And I'm doing okayish right now, but Mother Nature is a bee. She could strike me at any moment. The best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have some left. With Keeps, a licensed doctor will review your information online and recommend the right hair loss treatment prevention for you. Then that treatment will be shipped directly to your door every 3 months. Got any questions? Well, you can slide into your doctor's DMs 24/7 about any concern you might have related to your hair treatment prevention. It's going to take between 4 to 6 months to begin seeing results, so don't wait. Preserve your manly mane and find out today why Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors and why hundreds of thousands of men trust Keeps for hair loss prevention. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, then go to keeps.com/fallout or click the link down in the video description to receive 50% off of your first order. That's keeps.com/fallout, and thank you again to Keeps for sponsoring today's video. All right, back to the content. Why don't we go through each perk in no particular order, and I'll give you an early rating based on what I was able to find so far. First up, we have Golden Tricorn. I put a tweet out about how I'd gotten the new legendary trace rifle to drop with Harmony, which I was pumped about, and about half the replies were poking me around that, oh, hey, sorry there, buddy, not a Golden Tricorn, hey, throw it right in the garbage. I don't know why they have campy 1920s Mafia voices in my head, but that was the general vibe. Anyway, here's what the perk does. Final blows with this weapon grant bonus damage. While the buff is active, grenade or melee kills of the same damage type greatly increase its damage and duration. How about some numbers? In PvE, Tricorn level 1 activates on a weapon kill and will up your weapon damage output by exactly 15% for 7 seconds. I know, the HUD says 6, but the perk lingers around for 1 extra second when hitting 0 on the timer, ergo 7 seconds total. Trust me, I counted. In order to ramp up to level 2, again as the perk says, you gotta not only get a kill with a nade or melee, but it has to be the same damage type as the gun. My retraced path rifle is of the solar persuasion, so if I get a solar melee or solar grenade kill, has to be a charged melee by the way, then bam, we ramp it up to level 2. Tricorn at level 2 bumps up your damage output by exactly 50% from the base, not from level 1, meaning it's just 50% extra damage total, not 65%. The duration also goes up to 10.5 seconds. You can also refresh the damage timer on each level. Unfortunately, it's way easier to refresh the timer at level 1 because that only requires another kill with the weapon. At Tricorn level 2, you can only refresh the timer via another charged grenade or melee kill. If you get another kill with the gun, the timer just keeps going down. Here's what I got for PvP. Ramping up to Tricorn level 1 only got a damage buff of about 7.5%. Remember, that number could be off a smidge due to hidden damage number in-game rounding, but yeah. At Tricorn level 2, the damage ramped up to about 46%. Hell to the yeah. That is way stronger than Kill Clip, and yeah, stronger than Harmony for sure, which on my trace rifle only clocks in at about 16-ish%. But I want you to be real with yourself right now. Really real. How many times per game do you think the average player is going to get usage out of Golden Tricorn at level 2? Not level 1, level 2. Especially now that we have longer ability timers pretty much across the board. Probably depends if you're playing 3v3 or 6v6. I could definitely see a couple level 2s popping up in Iron Banner or Control, sure. For the most part though, I think you're going to see way more level 1s than level 2s popping up in PvP. And that's fine. You just have to ask yourself, am I okay with the fact that I'm not always going to get a level 2 to pop up? But when I do, anyone who rolls up to me is going to get turned inside out. If you're okay with that deal, then yeah, you're going to love Golden Tricorn. Right now, it can only roll on the Matador, the 1,000-yard stare, and the retraced path. The Matador especially will probably be able to clown people from really far away with Tricorn level 2 damage numbers. I don't have a 1,000-yard stare with Tricorn on it yet, but because we know the damage numbers, in theory, you should be able to get about 191-ish damage in the body with Tricorn level 2 activated, meaning meaning some players, not all, but some, should be able to get clowned in just one body shot if you have a 1,000 yard stare with level 2 Tricorn turned on. It might be really hard to set up, but the idea of a PvE 1,000 yard stare with triple tap paired together with level 2 Tricorn could lead to laughably stupid damage against a raid boss for a brief window of time. If you really want to earn yourself a one-way first-class ticket to hell, I could see a retraced path trace rifle pairing obnoxiously well with good old Arthur's Embrace on a bottom tree golden gun hunter. Ramp up that throwing knife power by getting headshots, yeet a double ricochet auto-lock throwing knife out into the world, obtain easy melee kill, and now go liquefy people with a ramped up trace rifle. I think as of right now, I'm ranking Golden Tricorn a high tier perk for both PvP and PvE. Even though the activation criteria for level 2 is hella annoying and may not kick in as frequently as you might like, the ceiling potential is cracked and you're gonna destroy when it gets turned on. Can't wait for it to drop on maybe more weapons in Witch Queen. Oh, and for the record, I still like Harmony on my trace rifle. Yeah, it's not as strong as Tricorn level 2, but I get Harmony activated way more frequently. Flexibility, people. Moving on, our next perk is Perpetual Motion. Your weapon gains bonus stability, handling, and reload speed while the wielder is in motion. How about a hot, fresh order of numbers? Perpetual Motion turns on when you move for about 2 seconds without stopping. It doesn't have to be sprinting, by the way. It can even just be walking or strafing. 2 seconds of that, and Perpetual Motion ramps up to level 1. You can also stop briefly, very, very briefly, like half a second level briefly, and then keep moving and the perk will still be active. If you stop moving for more than about half a second, the perk completely turns off. From the moment Perpetual Motion is on, if you keep moving for an additional 8 seconds, you hit Perpetual Motion level 2, and that's as high as you can get. Might sound like a pain in the ass, but there are 2 upsides. 1, for the most part in Destiny, especially in PvP, you move around pretty much the entire game. And 2, the perk can activate in your back pocket, meaning if you're running around for a while holding a gun that doesn't have Perpetual Motion, as soon as you swap to it, boom, perk activated, even potentially ramping up to level 2 immediately, depending on how long you've been moving for. I gotta tell ya, it's difficult trying to get clips of a perk that only really works when you're moving around, but I kinda have a feel for what it's given me right now. Here's my TLDR on Perpetual Motion. The upside is that it's one of the easiest weapon perks to activate, and it's always gonna be working for you. The downside is the level it's gonna help out your weapon really depends on the weapon. For example, my Matador might really appreciate the tiny boost in handling, but it doesn't really give a about extra stability. On the other hand, my trace rifle definitely really appreciates the stability, but maybe doesn't really care as much about the handling. It depends on your gun, and it also depends on what perks you're missing out on. Yeah, free weapon buffs are cool, but the Matador 64 can also roll with Threat Detector, and because you're pretty much always going to be in close proximity when whipping out your shotgun, yeah, I'm probably not going to care about Perpetual Motion over Threat Detector. It all depends, but I'll admit that there's potential there. I went ahead and did a stability test on my trace rifle in a private lobby, and yeah, the extra stability really does make the thing easier to control overall, and I really like that perk for my trace rifle. Again, I'm also missing out on Subsistence, which is also a great perk for the retraced path. Right now, I'm going to rank Perpetual Motion at the lowest, a mid-tier perk, and at the highest, maybe high tier, depending on what weapon you have the perk on and what kind of build you're going for. I think that if in the future we ever got a hand cannon with Perpetual Motion, yeah, I'd be really interested in that because I think people sleep on hand cannon stability. Keep the perk in mind going into Witch Queen for sure, could be way better over time with more loot. Alright, next up we got the Eager Edge. Gain increased sword lunge distance immediately after switching to this weapon. If you go ahead and tinker with this perk for even 1 minute, you're gonna realize, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Here's how it works. Whip out your sword that has Eager Edge and you have 1 second, exactly 1 second to use either a light or heavy attack, and you will go oh so far. If you don't swing in that 1 second, well, you blew it. You'll now have to reholster your sword and wait for the cooldown time to wear off before you can whip it out and do it again. And yeah, there's a cooldown time. It would be pretty goddamn silly if there weren't a cooldown time. And it's only for a few seconds. For PvE, the biggest factor here is movement potential and the ability to speedrun content way quicker. I have no doubt that there are going to be players zooming around through activities because of Eager Edge. For PvP, the perk is good enough to the point where I'm actually considering bringing a sword sword into PvP, which is almost unheard of, really. Check it out. Here in a private lobby, I show you how far you can go with a light attack. My friend actually measured the range with a Darcy, because we don't cut corners around here, bro. Eager Edge takes your light range from 3 meters to 9 meters, aka tripling your light lunge range, and on a heavy attack uppercut, the range went from 5 meters to 13 meters. That's essentially a roadborne chaperone range on a goddamn sword. Yeah, you have to be quick when you activate it, but the potential is way big. I've already seen a few clips of people taking advantage of the movement aspect alone, including my good friend Cammy, who we all stand hard around here. Even though it's early, I'm putting Eager Edge as a top tier perk on swords. It might not be god tier in terms of dealing damage, but the movement factor can't be argued with. Go try and get one today if you can. On the topic of swords, why don't we cover another brand new perk, Duelist Trance. Sword final blows grant increased charge rate, efficiency, and defense until the weapon is stowed. Do me a favor and remember that last part, it's going to be kind of a big deal later. Okay, here's the deal. Increased charge rate and increased efficiency are both straightforward. Charge rate refers to how quickly your sword charges up energy after either blocking or using a heavy attack, and your guard resistance reduces the amount of energy required to guard an attack. Therefore, more efficiency equals less energy required overall to guard when you're getting attacked while in guard mode. The final part of Duelist Trance, aka the extra defense, refers to how much damage reduction you get when blocking. For example, in a private lobby, my buddy shoots me with the new BXR rifle and I take 15 damage in the body. When blocking normally with the sword, I take 6 damage per bullet, a damage reduction buff of 60% overall. When Duelist Trance is activated, I only take 4 damage per bullet, bumping the DR buff up even higher to 74%. Now, I don't know if those numbers are the same across the board for every sword, but that's what they were for the sword that we were testing. The bottom line, though, is that with Duelist Trance, all you need is 1 kill to become a defensive machine. Your damage potential also does get higher due to a quicker charge rate, but that'll come into play more in PvE. The best part is that, remember from earlier, the perk doesn't go away until you stow your weapon. That's why there's no in-game HUD text when you have the perk activated, which I still find kind of annoying, by the way. All you need is 1 kill in order to reap them benefits for as long as you want. The other half sword can roll Duelist Trance together with either Frenzy or Vorpal Weapon, which sounds like a really damned good combo for PvE. The half-truth sword can roll Duelist Trance and Eager Edge together, meaning you could fly in at a guy in PvP, cut his damn head off from downtown, then become a real defensive menace to deal with. The perk is really fun, and although I don't think it brings as much to the table as Eager Edge, I still do like it, and I'm going to rank it mid to high tier, depending on how it's being used. Next up, we got Blunt Execution Rounds. Damaging nearby combatants with a melee ability dramatically increases handling and damage. Expires after a short duration or the next shot fired. Currently, that perk is only available on the new BXR rifle, a direct throwback to Halo 2 and the OG button combo of BXRing someone, aka meleeing them, canceling the melee animation, and then firing a point-blank headshot to lock up the kill. Here's how the perk works in D2. You get a melee hit, and for exactly 10 seconds, you have better handling on your weapon, but that's kind of limited to ADSing because if you swap off your BXR, the perk goes away, and you also get a big buff to damage, about 94% overall. On a headshot, your BXR can lock up 50 damage per bullet, meaning 150 damage on 1 full headshot burst. Essentially, if you land 1 melee, then land a shot in the head, the other dude is going to die. I've heard a few people mention this will only work with a real, actual physical contact melee, and I'm here to tell you that ain't true. You can get the perk to work on ranged melee attacks, but there's a catch. The target can't be further than 15 meters away from you. It's essentially the same range as Threat Detector, Dynamo, and a bunch of other perks that only work if you're close to another player. With that in mind, Blunt Execution Rounds are probably going to be extra cracked when paired with any of the following: Celestial Fire, Top Tree Dawnblade, Hammer throwing Mid-Tree Solar Titan, Smoke Bomb throwing Hunters, Ball Lightning Chaos Reach Warlocks, and Throwing Knife Hunters. Oh, and Mid-Tree Arc Hunters too. I guess that's technically a ranged melee attack. Remember, as long as they're within 15 meters, game on. Overall, I think I'm going to rank this perk as high tier for PvP, and who cares for PvE. I would love to rank it as top tier overall, but it's only available on just 1 gun, and it does have a strict activation criteria. That being said, highly recommend you get one and try it out. Our final 2 perks are both exotic, but I figured I would mention them here anyway. Pace Yourself. yourself is the new perk only available on the new Forerunner sidearm, aka the Halo Magnum. Tapping the trigger gives the weapon less recoil and improves accuracy. Going into a custom game, and yeah, pretty apparent. If you hold the trigger down and pump out shots in full auto mode, the gun kicks damn hard. Granted, that kick is almost perfectly vertical, still a lot of kickback. If you tap the trigger, not even with that big of a pause in between shots, you're gonna find that your bullets are way more consistently grouped together. In PvP, the Forerunner is already proving itself to be a monster, being able to 3-tap people from really far away. It's gonna take time for people to learn when to go full auto and when to tap the trigger, but overall the perk makes the gun damn deadly, and I'm gonna rank it as top tier for PvP. The final perk, Pack Hunter, and is only available on the brand new, can't believe it's back, what the hell year is it? Gallarhorn, or Yallarhorn if you're pretentious. Gain increased handling and reload speed when standing near allies. Firing this weapon also grants Wolfpack rounds to nearby allies wielding non-exotic rocket launchers. I don't think I need to tell you, this perk is really good. If you're standing in a group of people, all with a G-Horn, the extra handling and reload speed is gonna make boss DPS easy as pie. If you're standing around a group of people and they don't have the G-Horn, you're still getting the reload and handling buff yourself. And if they have rocket launchers, you're giving them Wolfpack rounds. By the way, I did a little testing, and yeah, you will gain Wolfpack rounds even if your legendary rocket launcher has chain reaction, lasting impression, whatever. Doesn't matter, you will get Wolfpack rounds. Expect to see a lot of videos in the near future of teams murdering raid bosses with 6 Gallarhorns. I'm rating the perk top tier for PvE, no question about it. And there you go, every new weapon perk reviewed for both PvP and PvE. I wish there were more to go over, but remember, Witch Queen is right around the corner. Let me know down in the comment section what content you want from me between now and Witch Queen. And yeah, I know I owe you a Titan exotic video. I wanted to wait until after the big sandbox changes to work on that. Click the like button on today's video, really helps my channel out a bunch, and remember to click subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.